Cancer is brutally devastating. It always begins very quietly. Somewhere deep inside the complex human body, a single cell goes wrong. Then another cell fails, followed by another. Suddenly, one day, a quiet doctor sits directly across from you. He looks into your eyes and says the heavy words, "You have cancer." It completely steals precious years. It steals the people we love. It hollows out whole families. The disease takes the very young. It takes the old. It does not care who you are or how much you still have to live for. Cancer is truly one of the most savage things that exists in nature, and the absolute worst part is that it has been here since the very beginning of life. Most modern people think cancer is a brand new disease. We quickly blame processed food, environmental pollution, and our lazy lifestyles. While those modern things definitely play a major role, the scary truth is far older. In 2016, inside a dark cave in South Africa, scientists found a foot bone from an ancient human ancestor. This fossilized bone belonged to an early species called Australopithecus, or early Homo. It was approximately 1.7 million years old. It showed clear signs of osteosarcoma, which is a malignant bone cancer. This mark was not a simple crack or a regular injury. The ancient bone had a real tumor growing inside a creature. It walked the earth long before our own species even existed. The very same study also discovered a benign spinal tumor in a different skeleton from roughly the same time period. Smart scientists call these specific types of abnormal growths neoplasms. Finding them in fossils is profound. These ancient discoveries tell us that cancer is definitely not new. Cancer is incredibly ancient. The disease mostly affects soft tissue, internal organs, skin and blood. However, soft tissue never fossilizes. It completely disappears over centuries and millennia. What actually survives the test of time is hard bone. So, what we find in the fossil record is only a tiny fraction of ancient cancers. Medical experts call this a preservation bias. We are only seeing the specific cancers that left a permanent mark on hard bone tissue. That is exactly why ancient mummies have been so incredibly valuable to researchers. Mummies preserve soft tissue well. Mummies have told us a great deal of new information. Researchers use advanced CT scans and imaging to find hidden tumors in Egyptian mummies. These bodies are thousands of years old. One detailed study scanned 137 different mummies. It found clear evidence of cancer in several of them. So, the fossil and mummy records together paint a very consistent picture. Ancient humans got cancer regularly, but we do not have to rely only on old bones and mummies. Ancient people actually wrote down descriptions of cancer too. The famous Edwin Smith papyrus from ancient Egypt dates back to around 1600 BCE. It clearly describes bulging tumors found in the breast. The old text notes that these growths have no real treatment. That is a very frank and devastating acknowledgement from a physician writing nearly 4,000 years ago. The Greek physician Hippocrates, who lived around 400 BCE, gave cancer its permanent name. He used the specific word karkinos, that is the old Greek word for a crab. He honestly thought the swollen veins around a dark tumor looked like crab legs reaching outward. The Roman physician Celsus later translated that term into the Latin word cancer. That is the exact word we still use today. So, for thousands of years across multiple civilizations, people observed cancer. They documented it carefully and tried hard to understand it. They just did not know what was actually causing the disease. To understand why cancer is truly ancient, we must understand what cancer actually is. Cancer begins the moment a single cell gets a mutation. The DNA inside that cell gets damaged or copied incorrectly. Most of the time, the body catches these errors. It fixes them quickly, but sometimes a mutated cell escapes that internal correction system. It starts dividing uncontrollably. It builds up into a solid mass. It slowly invades the surrounding tissue. Mutations happen naturally. They can happen every single time a cell divides. They are a part of life itself. The more cells you have, the more chances there are for errors. The longer you live, the more chances there are for a mutation to slip through. Every living organism with cells that divide carries this constant risk. Massive dinosaurs got cancer. Ancient fish got cancer. Even tall trees can get cancer today. So, did ancient humans actually get cancer less frequently than we do now? The honest answer to that is probably yes. However, it is not for the reasons people usually think. The biggest reason is human lifespan. Most ancient humans died very young. They died from bad infections, sudden injuries, wild predators, and terrible famine. The average life expectancy for a prehistoric human was roughly 25 to 35 years. Cancer takes a long time. Most cancers develop after a person reaches the age of 50. If you die at 30 from a fierce lion attack or a bad tooth infection, cancer never has a chance to develop. Ancient humans also had completely different risk factors. They did not smoke tobacco. They were never exposed to industrial chemicals. They ate whole foods. They moved their bodies constantly. All of these healthy habits reduced certain cancer risks, but they had unique risks too. Thick smoke from regular cooking fires caused severe lung irritation. Parasitic infections and chronic internal inflammation can promote certain cancers. Heavy sunlight exposure without any protection raises skin cancer risk significantly. They were not living in a perfect cancer-free paradise. They were just dying of other things first. So, why does it seem like cancer is absolutely everywhere today? Part of the simple answer is that we live much longer now. Modern medicine has eliminated or reduced many things that killed people young. So, we now have millions of people successfully reaching their 60s, 70s and 80s. That is the absolute prime window for cancer to develop. It is also the prime window for it to be detected by doctors. Another major part of the answer is advanced detection. We have technologies now that can find a tiny tumor the size of a fingernail deep inside the body. Ancient physicians could only see what was completely visible. They only felt what was on the surface. Most internal cancers went completely undetected back then. And yes, modern lifestyle factors do increase certain cancer risks today. Smoking tobacco is directly linked to lung, throat and mouth cancer. Eating processed red meat is linked to colorectal cancer. Obesity is connected to over a dozen different cancer types. Heavy UV radiation causes skin cancer. Understanding that cancer is ancient actually helps smart scientists today. If cancer has been with us for millions of years, it means something important. It is woven deep into the fabric of multicellular life. Researchers are now studying why some ancient animals seem to have lower cancer rates. Elephants, for example, carry extra copies of a special cancer-suppressing gene called TP53. Scientists are studying those specific genes today. They want to see if they can create better human cancer treatments using them. The fossil record also helps us track how cancer rates change over time. By comparing ancient bone tumors to modern ones, researchers study how certain cancers evolve. They learn which environmental conditions seem to trigger them. Cancer is not just a medical problem. It is a massive evolutionary puzzle. Understanding its deep history is a key part of solving it for good. A 1.7 million-year-old bone tells a story. An ancient tumor speaks to us. It belonged to a creature that lived before language, before fire, and before civilization. Cancer was right there. It is one of the oldest adversaries the human lineage has ever faced. For the first time in that long history, we actually have the tools to fight back.